Only wish the people at home could enjoy the conversation in the commercial break.
Extra spicy. You'd have to pay a lot extra for that.
Yeah, you aren't kidding. There's a paywall there. All right, gosh, so much happened, guys.
Yeah.
We were out of it in July. We fought back. We were out of it again in September. We had the greatest comeback in the history of Major League Baseball. At the same time, we had the lowest on-base percentage and batting average of any team ever to make the playoffs. How will you guys remember 2025?
I'm sorry, guys. I will still remember the way they played, winning 17 of 19 down the stretch. That was fun. I look for fun moments, right? The 2017 season, and obviously we had way higher expectations for this team in 2017 than we did in 2025. But even though they disappointed in the playoffs, the first thing I always think of is the winning streak that they had, because it was an amazing run. This wasn't quite the same, and it wasn't obviously as good a team, but it was still a lot of fun watching this team win almost every game down the stretch and get their way into the playoffs. Yeah. So disappointing season, but I'll still remember that as the first thing.
I'm sorry, 5 years from now, when you talk about, remember 2025, it's the year that they lost the best closer in baseball and a guy who was on track for the Hall of Fame, and I mean it, look it up, he was on track for the Hall of Fame to gambling charges, or gambling allegations. And we talked about on the YouTube show, we'll see, I think he's throwing his last pitch. I think Luis Ortiz is throwing his last pitch. That overshadowed everything else in the history books. When we look back on this season, I don't think we're going to remember this great September. I don't think we're going to remember this playoff series against the Tigers. I think it's going to be the year that they lost 2 players to gambling allegations, because we haven't seen that happen very often. We've never seen a player pulled off the field and set on the shelf and said, we think there's something going on here. We have to get you off the field immediately. It's such a strange story. We've had some gambling stuff in the past, not like this. To me, this will be the year that they lost Emmanuel Clase.
Remember them old NFL films where they used to bamboozle you and watching the year in review? And they always had them nice little quotes. A
Pandemonium Palace.
a season of resilience and bright horizons. Right, listen, man. You could go one or two ways. The season that they never gave up. Yeah, they came back 17, 18, and they did get into the playoffs. But you know how we are. People are fickle. Our memories don't go back that far. All they're going to do is remember the fact that, hey, you still didn't have no sticks when it counted. They say 25, 24, 23. That's what you kind of remember. You got to have a special season where you go to the World Series before we start to identify. It sucks, but eventually it'll fade to a point where it's just, you'll just see a first-round exit. You will say, oh, that year, 20 years, hey, they came back from down 20-some-odd games, Jay, but in the scheme of things, people will just remember that they didn't get the hits timely when they needed to get them.
Yeah, I'll remember it for 2 things. The comeback, because it's unprecedented. And Jason, your point is a good one, but because it happened so early in the season and they were able to overcome it, I think it becomes a footnote. But you're right. We've never seen a premium player at his position pulled off the field in the middle of the season for still what we don't know. And hopefully there's some sort of conclusion to this thing, because the cloud is the worst thing that can happen. But ultimately, they erased a 15.5-game lead in July and a 12-game lead in September. I've never seen that before. And, guys, I don't think we'll ever see it again, because 2 things have to happen. The good team has to have an epic collapse, and the bad team has to have an absolutely flawless, with no room for error, month of September.